Okay, so I want it to be abundantly clear that the reason that I'm reading this is because I'm hate reading it. So some of my friends have read it that are like into fantasy and that kind of thing, and basically told me that I was going to hate it. And yeah, they were right. I mean, I can see why people like it. I get the appeal. The writing, however, when it's like outside of world building, I really find quite lazy and repetitive. So the protagonist herself is deeply unlikable. She's a bit of a Mary Sue. One of my other friends who haven't read it asked me if she was like a bit of a pick-me, and I wouldn't say that necessarily, but she definitely gives me I'm not like other girls kind of vibes. I wouldn't say pick me because she's spent like the first half of the book just being like very defensive. She's unlikable. She's pretty much one of those characters that's like, oh, I'm so great. My family would die if it wasn't for me. I'm the only person that's competent. My family are gonna suck without me because I am so great. Yeah, so she's insufferable. Can't stand her. The world building is pretty good. I like the description of the world around them, and that kind of thing is fine. One of the things that I find really annoying about the book is whenever there's something that she is kind of like lost for words or doesn't think that she can describe particularly well, the phrase like, oh, I would never be able to paint that because she's a painter, she's different, she's an arts girl, she's an art hoe. Yeah, whenever she sees or experiences something that is like otherworldly or like takes her breath away or is really beautiful, every single time she refers to it as being like she'd never be able to paint like that. In the last like 100 pages or so that I've read this morning, she has repeated that phrase about different things probably about 7 times, and it's getting really boring. Like, just say, like, find a different way to describe that. We know you paint. And in my head, it just makes me think that she's probably just really shit at painting, and all of these paintings that she's done on like her family home's walls and in her little painting room in the fairy castle are just really, really bad. Like, really, really bad. That's my headcanon anyway. The other thing that I find really annoying is the fact that like the writer tends to like cover up plot holes with magic. And obviously it's a fantasy book and there is magic involved, and I get that. Like, some of the use of it is absolutely fine. There is a meaning for it. But there's a bit in the book where she comes across this beast and she can't see it. But then later in the book, when it becomes apparent that it's a bit of a plot hole, it's like, oh yeah, you just couldn't see that because of magic. It feels really lazy. It's like, okay, well, I don't know how I'm gonna wrap this up, so it's gonna be magic. Like, it's a really lazy way to explain something happening, or like it's an easy way for her to just be like, oh, it was magic, without having to come up with like a proper explanation for it. At least that's how it reads to me. Like I said, I can understand why people like it. It's a very digestible fantasy novel. I don't particularly read a lot of fantasy because I find high fantasy quite difficult to get into. And if I'm particularly distracted, if it's not getting somewhere quickly, my mind goes on like a wander. So it's quite easy to read. It's digestible. I understand why women who like men like this book. Yeah, it's just not really doing it for me. My friends who have read it, my friend Molly and my friend Theo, who read the first book and like skimmed most of it, but Molly has read the series, and she was the one that was like, I need you to read this because I know you're going to hate it and I want to experience it through your lens. I have been sending both of my friends voice notes every time something like triggers me in the book. That's been part of a fun reading experience for me, to be honest, to like rag on the book as I'm going through. And I even said to them, like, I can understand why people like it and why it's popular. It just is not a book for me, and I probably will not be finishing the series after I've read this one because I need to get my teeth into something that is definitely more me. But because it has been really easy to read and digestible, and because I've got that little bit of a social aspect to it, it's got me back into reading regularly, and I was struggling with that before. If you've seen any of my more recent uploads where I mention reading, probably in like my depressive episode vlog, I talk about how I'm really struggling to read and not being able to concentrate, and I've just listened to audiobooks and that kind of thing. To be in a position where I can sit down and concentrate on something, this has been like a really easy way for me to get back into that. And I did pick up another book the other day because I'd got points on my Waterstones card. So yeah, I'm hoping like I'm gonna get through that, and then I can start a book that I feel like I'm gonna enjoy a little bit more. I need horror again. I need to read horror. But yeah, I'm gonna leave reading this here for the time being and go and jump in the shower quickly and just freshen myself up a little bit. Excuse me for looking like a drowned rat, but I'm up, I'm showered, I'm clean, I'm in comfy clothes today because I'm not leaving the house. Well, just before I got in the shower after I finished filming, I had a phone call from my mum. Got some not very good family news, so like it's okay, but it's not, if that makes sense. I don't really want to go into it too much, but I have a therapy call, which is like the first of my CBT stuff today. So that's happening in about 45 minutes. So I'm gonna chill for a bit. And then once that's out of the way, I just need to quickly make sure my house is tidy because I've got book club today. The girls are coming around. We are going to be talking about the book, and whoever is the next person to pick will be announcing what the new book is. I'm not sure whose turn it is. I think it might be Molly's, and she picked a really good book last time, so I'm really hoping that she's gonna follow suit. Or is it anime? The last book that she picked was okay, it was readable, it was a thriller. What I love about my little book club that we run is how varied the stuff that we read is. Now, I have picked horror, or like stuff with themes of horror in, because that is like my favorite type of book to read. We've had thrillers, we've had fantasy, and we've had a bit of horror. It's been pretty good so far. But yeah, I'm excited to see what the next edition is going to be and how good it's going to be. This is, I think, what I'm gonna pick for our next book club read. I really like the description of it on the back. Some horror walks you down a dark corridor where there's whispers and laughter, sobs and screams. Other horror starts down the end of that corridor where there's a door that opens onto you don't know what. Read this and then decide where Eric LaRocca has left you. Not that it matters, there's no way out. So this book is 3 short stories that are all horror, so I'll read you the blurb. Now this is the one that I am particularly excited to read because it's gay. A whirlpool of darkness churns at the heart of a macabre ballet between 2 lonely young women in an internet chat room in the early 2000s. A darkness that threatens to forever transform them once they finally succumb to their most horrific desires. That sounds real interesting to me, and I know it's fruity. The other one is a couple isolate themselves on a remote island in attempt to recover from their teenage son's death when a mysterious young man knocks on their door during a storm, and a man confronts his neighbour when he discovers a strange object in his backyard, only to be drawn into an ever more dangerous game. 3 devastating, beautifully written horror stories from one of the genre's most cutting-edge voices. What have you done today to deserve your eyes? I think I'm gonna save this until it is my turn to choose the book that we'll be reading for book club. But yeah, I'm super excited to read this. Been on my list for a while. But yeah, I think I'm gonna make myself a hot drink and then chill out for a bit while I wait for my phone to ring. I need to make sure that it's on loud. Does anybody else like perpetually keep their phone on silent and or do not disturb mode? Because I do. I don't want to be disturbed ever. If you need to speak to me, send me a text message. I'm really bad at answering calls unless I know who's calling me and what it's for. We won't get into that though. Just had a text message from Molly being like, do people want coffee? I can grab them and then walk up to Sophie's if it's easier for pickup. What an angel. Perks of having your friends work in coffee shops. Oh, your claws at me. What was that for? Because I moved it.
What I want you to do is think about the last 2 weeks and how much you've been bothered by the following problems.
Okay. Literally have just finished putting together my dinner. I thought this was gonna look worse than it does, but I think that doesn't look half bad. It's chips and pea protein kebab style meat and salad and pickled cabbage and a fake cheese and garlic sauce. Yeah, it actually looks quite nice. I thought it was gonna literally look like shit. Oh my god, is this a mukbang? This is my first eating dinner video. Oh my god. I didn't film really much at all while the girls were here because those are my girls. That's our time together to talk about like book club and what we've been up to, what's going on in our lives. And like my friends come around to hang out with me, they don't come around for me to vlog them. Very minimal footage of that, but it was really good. We all kind of felt similarly about the book and it was really good to just catch up generally. One of the things that I've been thinking about though, since they all left, is I kind of feel like I want to make videos that are like book related. I had a bit of a dry spell with books and I feel like now that I've started to get back into reading regularly again, it's something that I kind of want to work into my YouTube videos as well. I find though that I struggle to remember what I've read about in like the detail that I would like to. Like if I was going to do a sit down video style type thing to talk about the book and what I thought of it and the plot and everything. But I feel like I get so preoccupied with everything else that's going on. Like it's better to talk to me about the book that I'm reading as I'm reading it. Like if you ask me about a book I read, I won't be able to like tell you in detail, especially if it's not one that I really loved. But I still think it's really fun and important to talk about the things that you read that aren't good. So I was kind of thinking, what if I vlogged while I was reading the book and kept it completely separate to any of my other vlogs that I'm putting out or Living Alone Diaries and just vlog the experience of reading the book. So I don't know, after each sitting perhaps I could just talk about what I've read and how it's made me feel, have my camera with me while I'm reading something. Because something that I've enjoyed while I've been reading A Court of Thorns and Roses is having people to talk about it with. So multiple of my friends have read it, but there are two that I'm kind of like toing and froing between like talking about it with at the moment. Because they both said that I would hate it, it was suggested that I voice note them while I'm reading the book. And I figured, what better way to do that, because it's a lot of fun for me and the other person on the receiver. And I thought, well, what better way to do that than to like do that in the format of a video, because then it's giving me more content to put out, something that I'm interested in and I do a lot of. It will keep me reading more, because if I have like an ongoing series, I will try my best to stick to it. I've enjoyed sending the voice notes to my friends. So basically it's going to be the voice notes I would send to my friends about the book that I'm reading, but with video this time as well. And because me and my friends have book club, like I really enjoy it because it means I get to talk to people about something that I'm reading. The other thing that I really like is that I'm now exposed to a lot of stuff that I perhaps wouldn't have chosen for myself to read. So I thought it could be like a fun parasocial type thing. If I ask you like, oh, what should I read next? Or like take suggestions for the book. Obviously I like reading the books that I like to read, but it's really interesting reading something else that I typically wouldn't have exposed myself to organically. So let me know in the comments if that's something that you would like to see as like a separate thing, like a separate vlog series, I guess. because yeah, the best time to hear my opinion and my reactions to the media is while I'm consuming it, because my head gets occupied so much with so many other thoughts that they need to be displaced. I need to be talking about the emotions that I'm feeling while I'm feeling it, not afterwards. But yeah, as for the rest of the evening, I think it's going to be a pretty chill one. I'm just watching YouTube at the moment while I have dinner. And yeah, I think after this I'm probably gonna take myself off, get cozy in bed, and hang out in there for a bit because I got work tomorrow. But nice short shift and a nice later start than I'm used to. Okay, I'm gonna go finish my dinner and resume my evening. Okay, but not me like crawling into bed because I want to read more of this. Like, I don't feel like I'm quite ready to admit to myself that there is an element of enjoyment I am having reading this. I think, as I've said before, it's pretty easygoing fantasy, so it's quite digestible. I really don't like the protagonist though. I'm really not enjoying her. But I'm interested like in the world building and seeing where that side of things goes. And like the history of the Fae realm. I don't know, like I'm into that and I'm interested in that. I don't really care for the romance all that much. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm reluctant to say that I'm enjoying it. And I think a lot of that is because of the fact that I have been slating this and being like, oh no, I'm not gonna read that. Nah, that's stupid. Like, it's gonna suck. I don't want to be eating my words. And I don't think I am. Like, there is more about this book that I dislike than I like, but I am kind of enjoying how basic and kind of dumb it is. I don't know. I feel like that's a really controversial thing to say about this book because everybody online seems to love it, but I'm just like... But also, I've read loads of it in a short space of time, so I don't know. But yeah, I think I want to read a little bit more. Why has this been the book that's got me back into reading after my slump? I hate that that's the case, but I do want to finish it. I'm in bed, I'm gonna read some more of my book, listen to some chill music, and then yeah, that's gonna be the end of this vlog. So thank you so much if you've gotten to the end. If you have, drop one of those yellow hearts down in the comment, and yeah, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Let me know if book vlogs are a thing that you would like to see separate from my other vlog, and yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.